Hello, dear viewers. Today, we're diving into one of the most monumental events in American history, Donald Trump's inauguration ceremony. On January 20th, 2017, America and the entire world witnessed a moment that would change the course of history. This wasn't just the swearing in of a new president. It was a declaration of a new era, a time of dramatic change for the United States. Trump's inauguration wasn't merely a political event, it was a symbolic moment of transformation. A new president meant a new direction, not just for America, but for the world. But what did this moment truly represent? What emotions ran through the crowd as Trump took his oath of office? And how did this moment impact the American people and the world? Let's explore. The story of Trump's inauguration didn't start on the day of the ceremony. It actually began long before, with the 2016 presidential election, one of the most shocking and divisive campaigns in recent American history. Trump's victory was, for many, an unprecedented turn of events. The establishment was shaken, and his win wasn't just a win for his supporters, it was a rejection of the status quo. A sign that the American people were hungry for change. During his campaign, Trump promised to make America great again. And this slogan wasn't just words, it was a promise of revolution. As election night unfolded, no one could have predicted the implications this victory would have, both domestically and internationally. So, how did Trump's electoral success set the stage for that fateful inauguration day? What was America expecting? And what was the world bracing for? And then came January 20th, 2017, the day that would be etched in history. Washington, D.C. was a scene of mixed emotions, with thousands gathering in the National Mall, watching eagerly as Trump prepared to take the oath of office. Meanwhile, millions watched from across the globe, anxious to see how this unorthodox candidate would begin his journey as the 45th President of the United States. As Trump stood before the nation, his hand on the Bible, the world held its breath. The words he spoke during his inauguration were not just a formality. They were a bold declaration of his vision for America's future. He spoke of restoring greatness, putting America first, and charting a new course. But in the midst of the celebration, what did these words mean for the citizens of the United States? What did they mean for the world? And how did the American public truly feel about this new direction? The story of Trump's inauguration didn't start on the day of the ceremony. It actually began long before, with the 2016 presidential election, one of the most shocking and divisive campaigns in recent American history. Trump's victory was, for many, an unprecedented turn of events. The establishment was shaken, and his win wasn't just a win for his supporters. It was a rejection of the status quo, a sign that the American people were hungry for change. There were several key moments that would go down in history. One of the most memorable was Trump's family joining him on stage. Melania Trump by his side, Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump Jr. also prominently featured, making it clear that this was not just a political change, but a family legacy in motion. The presence of his family on stage spoke volumes about Trump's personal narrative and his vision of American values. It wasn't just about politics, it was about family, strength, and unity. At least, that's how it was portrayed. But how did Melania's presence on stage affect the optics of the event? Was she a reflection of Trump's leadership style, or was she a symbol of something deeper? Trump's inaugural speech was a testament to his leadership style and the promises he made during his campaign. We will bring back our jobs. We will bring back our borders. We will bring back our wealth, Trump declared in his speech. He laid out his vision for a more insular, nationalistic America, one that would prioritize its citizens above all else. But this vision wasn't just about economic prosperity, it was also about a moral revolution. His rhetoric resonated deeply with his supporters, who believed that the political establishment had long ignored their needs and concerns. His speech was loud and clear. America was going to take care of its own first, no matter what. But what did this mean for those who didn't support him? How did the critics and those who didn't vote for him feel as they watched the speech unfold? While Trump's supporters celebrated with fervor, Washington, D.C. saw a simultaneous rise of protests. Tens of thousands of women marched in the Women's March, while anti-Trump activists gathered across the city. Trump's inauguration ceremony wasn't just a day of celebration. It was a day of division, highlighting the deep divides in American society. What did the protests signify? Were they simply a reaction to Trump's rise to power? Or were they a deeper reflection of the discontent and fear many Americans felt about the future? The streets were filled with chants and signs, reflecting the growing anxiety surrounding Trump's policies and the future of the nation. The impact of Trump's inauguration ceremony went far beyond that day. It signaled the start of a new political era, one that would be marked by bold statements, controversial decisions, and unexpected changes. Trump's presidency was anything but conventional, and that became evident right from the start. The words he spoke on Inauguration Day were the foundation for his policies on trade, immigration, and foreign relations. What does the legacy of his inauguration mean today? In retrospect, can we say that this moment truly reshaped America? Did the promises of making America great again come to fruition, or did they lead to polarization and division? Looking back, Donald Trump's inauguration ceremony was more than just a political event. It was a defining moment for America. It marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. The message was clear. America would no longer play by the old rules. The world was watching, and Trump had made his intentions known. So, what did this day mean for you? What emotions did it stir? Did it inspire hope, fear, or something else entirely? As we look back on this historic moment, we invite you to share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. Trump's presidency wasn't just about changing America. It sent shockwaves across the world. America First wasn't just a catchy slogan, it became a defining philosophy, reshaping alliances, trade deals, and diplomatic relations. Withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement, questioning NATO's role, reworking NAFTA. The world was left wondering, was the U.S. turning inward, or was this a bold move to reassert dominance on the global stage? How did our allies react? Some saw strength, others saw uncertainty. Meanwhile, rivals like China and Russia watched closely, analyzing every move. Would this shift make America stronger or leave it isolated? Stay with us, because next, we dive into the one thing that set Trump apart from every president before him. Presidents used to rely on press conferences and carefully crafted speeches. Not Trump. His megaphone? Twitter. He didn't wait for journalists to interpret his words. He spoke directly to the people, uncensored, unfiltered, and often unpredictable. One tweet could spark outrage, move markets, or redefine international relations. But was this transparency or chaos? To his supporters, it was a revolution, a president who finally spoke his mind. To his critics, it was reckless, policy by impulse, diplomacy by tweet. And yet, love it or hate it, Trump's social media dominance changed the game forever. But it wasn't all celebrations, because as Trump took the stage at the inaugural ball, something was already brewing outside. As Trump and the First Lady took their first dance, the room shimmered with luxury, elegance, and a sense of triumph. For his supporters, this was a night of victory, proof that an outsider could take Washington by storm. But outside, a different story was unfolding. A storm of protests, streets flooded with demonstrators, and just hours later, a movement was born, one that would define the resistance against Trump's presidency. It was called the Women's March, and what happened next was something no one saw coming. As Trump and the First Lady took their first dance, the room shimmered with luxury, elegance, and a sense of triumph. For his supporters, this was a night of victory, proof that an outsider could take Washington by storm. But outside, a different story was unfolding. A storm of protests, streets flooded with demonstrators, and just hours later, a movement was born, one that would define the resistance against Trump's presidency. It was called the Women's March, and what happened next was something no one saw coming. The United States has always had political differences, but after Trump's inauguration, the divide wasn't just political, it was personal. Families stopped speaking, friendships ended. The country wasn't just split into Democrats versus Republicans, it became Trump supporters versus Trump resistors. Was Trump to blame? Or was this divide years in the making? Some say he was a symptom of a broken system. Others say he broke the system himself. Either way, one thing was clear. America would never be the same again. But as Trump's first day in office came to a close, one question lingered. What would history remember? Some called it the rebirth of patriotism. Others called it the rise of division. But whether you saw Trump as a hero or a villain, his impact was undeniable. He redefined the presidency. He challenged the establishment. He changed the way America was viewed on the global stage. And his inauguration? It was only the beginning. So now, we turn to you. How do you think Trump's inauguration changed America? Was it a turning point for the better, or the beginning of a divided future? Let us know in the comments.